Hey, 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 welcome back to Hot Mess to Higher Self. So, this topic has been on my mind a lot lately. It's one of those things that's been quietly hanging out in the background, like popping up in thoughts, dreams, random memories, the kind where it feels like the universe is low key nudging you to pay attention. Yeah, that. Today, we're talking about soulmates, but not in the cheesy rom com, love at first sight kind of way. I'm talking about those connections that hit deep, the ones that feel magnetic and intense and maybe even a little confusing. Like, is this fate? Is this karma? Or is this just another lesson wrapped up in pretty packaging? So here's the thing, just because something feels powerful doesn't mean it's meant to last. And just because a relationship feels destined doesn't mean you're meant to suffer through it to the bitter end. Today, we're going to get into what soulmates actually are, why some connections feel so strong, and how you can tell the difference between a relationship that's meant to grow with you and one that's meant to teach you something and then you let it go. So let's dive in. All right, let's talk about what a soulmate actually is because I think a lot of people hear that word and instantly picture a romantic partner, like my other half or the one, the person I'm supposed to end up with forever and ever. But that's such a limited view of something way bigger. A soulmate is really just someone from your soul family, someone you've incarnated with over and over for multiple lifetimes. And no, it's not always romantic. Sometimes your soulmate is a best friend. Sometimes it's a sibling or even a parent. Sometimes it's that random person you meet and immediately feel like you've known them forever. And you can't explain it, but the connection is just there. It's like your souls recognize each other before your mind even catch up. Earth is like a giant school. You come here to learn and grow. Your soul family and you planned your roles in each other's lives before you got here. You decided what types of relationships you'd have. Would it be supportive and comforting? Or would it be challenging, painful? Our souls love to play, and Earth is the perfect playground. There are so many different things to experience here, and our soulmates are here to help us grow by playing different roles in our lives. Some soulmates come into our lives to remind us of who we are. Some come in to show us our wounds. Some come in to walk with us for a little while and then leave. That part can be hard because those are usually the ones we want to hold on to the most. But not every soulmate is meant to stay. That doesn't mean the connection is less real. It doesn't mean you made it up or you imagined it. It just means their role in your journey might have been to awaken something in you, not to be your forever. And honestly, that reframe alone can be such a relief because how many times have we clung to a relationship that felt meant to be, even though it was hurting us? When in reality, the lesson wasn't to hold on tighter, it was to learn, to evolve, and then to let go. So, yeah, soulmates are real, they're powerful, they're sacred, but they're not always meant to be permanent. And when we stop putting them in a box, when we stop expecting them to fit this one specific narrative, we open ourselves up to so much more love, growth, and connection. Okay, so let's go a little deeper. Romantic partnerships. This is where it gets really interesting because, yeah, a lot of our big relationships, the ones that change us, crack us open, push every damn button we have, yeah, most of those are part of a soul contract. Before we came here, we sat with our soul family and mapped a lot of this out. Like, okay, you're going to be my partner in this lifetime and it's going to be messy, but we're going to learn so much. Or you're going to break my heart in the most excruciating way possible, but it's going to be the thing that launches me into my healing. These partnerships are chosen on purpose. They're here to wake us up, teach us something, or bring us back to ourselves. And sometimes we choose some pretty tough ones because when we're in the spirit realm, when we're not in this heavy emotional human body, We don't fully remember what it feels like to be down here, to actually go through the heartbreak, the abandonment, the betrayal. From that higher place, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll take on that lesson, no big deal. And then we get here and it's like, wait, what did I just sign up for? If you've ever felt like your relationship challenges have been extra, or like your love life has been one spiritual initiation after another, I feel you. You probably chose some advanced level coursework before you landed here. I'm pretty sure I did. I am eager as fuck. But here's the thing, and we'll talk about this more in the next section. You are never stuck in a soul contract. Like, just because something was pre planned doesn't mean you have to stay in it forever, especially if it's hurting you. The soul contract isn't about staying no matter what, it's about the lesson. And sometimes the most powerful lesson you can learn in love is when to walk away. Okay. So now that we've talked about soul contracts and those pre-planned relationships, let's talk about something just as important. Free will. Because yeah, we did plan a lot before we got here. We chose certain people, certain lessons, even certain pain points. But we also came in with the power to pivot. You're not locked into a relationship just because your soul once thought it would be a good idea. You're allowed to look around and be like, actually, this is not it. I've learned what I needed to learn and I'm done now. And honestly, that can be one of the most empowering moments on your path when you realize you're not stuck. You get to choose. I truly believe we can rip up soul contracts if they're no longer aligned. And not from a place of anger or fear, but from a place of deep self love. You can say, I see the purpose this relationship served. I honor it. And now I release it. It's not a failure, it's a graduation. Now, I know that choice isn't always easy. There's often a lot of guilt, a lot of doubt, especially if you do feel that strong soulmate pull. It's easy to think, but if this connection is so deep, doesn't that mean I'm supposed to stay? Here's how I look at it. Ask yourself, am I growing or am I just in pain all the time? Is this connection stretching me in a good way or am I constantly shrinking myself to keep the peace? Is the other person also willing to heal and grow? Or am I carrying the emotional weight for both of us? Because soul contracts aren't about martyrdom, they're about evolution. And sometimes the most sacred, aligned thing you can do is walk away. You're not breaking the contract, you're completing it. The lesson was never stay no matter what. The lesson is to trust yourself always. So let's talk about one of the biggest questions I get. Can a karmic relationship actually become healthy and secure? The short answer is yes, but only if both people are willing to heal. And I want to share a little bit of my own story here because honestly, this was my relationship. We met when I was 18. He was 5 years older. And from the very beginning, our relationship was volatile, to say the least. I was constantly chasing him, and the more I chased, the more he pulled away. That dynamic left me feeling so deeply lonely, even when we were technically together. And that loneliness, it would push me to break up with him because being with someone and still feeling alone was unbearable. But then after the breakup, I'd feel even more alone and I'd start chasing him again. So we'd fall back into the same exact cycle over and over for years. Then we had Adam. And at some point early on, I remember saying, I can't keep doing this. I feel so lonely when I'm with you. I need to get from other people what I can't get from you. But the thing is, I didn't realize yet that what I was looking for in him or in anyone was something I had to give myself first. No friend, no partner, no relationship was ever going to fill that deep, dark hole I had inside because no one else can. That healing had to come from me. So I started doing the work. I went inward. I found tools and practices that helped me reconnect with myself, with my inner child, with my body. I began to heal my nervous system and work through my attachment wounds. I stopped looking for someone to save me and started becoming the person I'd been searching for. And everything changed. Our relationship transformed, not overnight, but gradually, as I shifted. And during that time, we also went to couples counseling, which helped a lot with our communication. But the real breakthrough came when I stopped needing him to meet me where I wasn't yet willing to meet myself. And the beautiful part, as I did the work, he started doing his own. He learned how to hold space for my hard emotions. He grew stronger in himself. He stopped running when things got tough and began coming toward me instead of away. But again, this only worked because we both showed up. I wasn't dragging him behind me. I wasn't doing all the emotional lifting. He chose to grow too. So, yes, a karmic relationship can absolutely evolve into something beautiful, but it takes honesty, it takes effort, and it takes two people who are genuinely willing to face their stuff and rise together. So, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you already know the deal with attachment styles. And if you're new here, hey, go binge the series because it'll give you so much context. But for this conversation, I want to speak from my own experience because as someone with a fearful avoidant attachment style, I know how confusing and painful this can get. Like that push and pull is so real. One minute you're craving closeness, desperately needing reassurance, attention, love. And the next minute, you're panicking. You're pulling away. You're picking fights and shutting down or suddenly questioning everything. It's like your nervous system can't decide whether love is safe or dangerous. And when you're in that state, you're usually attracting people who reflect that chaos back to you. I used to be drawn to emotionally unavailable people constantly, not because I wanted to be hurt, but because on some level it felt familiar. That hot and cold energy mirrored the dynamics I grew up around. And when something feels familiar, even if it's dysfunctional, your nervous system clings to it like it's home. So for a long time, I kept choosing the same kinds of relationships over and over: intense, addictive, high highs and low lows. And I'd convince myself this must be love, when in reality, it was just trauma reenactment with better lighting. What really shifted things for me was understanding that my attachment style wasn't just a label, it was a map. It was showing me where I was still hurting, where I didn't trust myself yet, where I believed I had to either chase love or run from it. And when I started healing those patterns, when I really focused on regulating my nervous system, learning to sit with my emotions instead of reacting from them, rebuilding trust within myself, that's when everything started changing. Because who you attract mirrors who you are in that moment. And when you start showing up with more security, more self worth, more inner stability, you stop calling in people who activate your wounds and you start attracting people who actually feel safe to love. And if you're already in a relationship right now, doing this work can still shift everything. You don't have to leave to break a cycle. When you start showing up differently, more grounded, more honest, more self aware, you give the other person a chance to show up differently too. That's how healing works. Someone has to go first. And sometimes the second you stop playing your old role, the entire dynamic starts to change because your outer world always reflects your inner state. So when you shift the energy inside of you, when you regulate, when you heal, when you start relating to yourself differently, your outer world has no choice but to recalibrate around that. Relationships change. People show up differently. Or They fall away to make space for something new, something better. That's the power you hold. All right. Now, let's get into the energetic side of things because even when a relationship is over, the energy of that person can still be lingering in your field. You might think you've moved on, but if you're still getting randomly triggered by old memories, still feeling emotionally tangled when their name comes up, or still attracting the same exact dynamic with a new face, chances are you're still carrying the energetic imprint of that relationship. And I know that sounds a little woo, but it's also very real. Every relationship leaves a mark on your energy field, especially the ones that were intense, painful, or karmic. And if we don't clear those imprints, they just sit there, taking up space, creating static, distorting the frequency we're trying to call love into. Here's a few signs you might still be holding on to someone energetically. You feel drained or heavy when thinking about them, even if it's been years. You can't seem to break the pattern. You keep attracting the same type of partner over and over. Or maybe you've done the therapy, you've journaled your heart out, but something still feels off. That's where energetic clearing comes in. One of my favorite practices is a cord cutting ritual. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean cutting someone out in anger. It means releasing the energetic attachment that's no longer serving you. It's about reclaiming your energy, calling your power back. Another big one is heart chakra healing, especially if you're holding grief, resentment, or shame in your chest. That energy gets stuck. Breath work, mirror work, energy healing, even just placing your hand on your heart and repeating, I am safe to let this go. That can start to shift things. And don't forget the root chakra. If you've been in relationships that made you feel unstable, unsafe, or constantly anxious, your root probably took a hit. Grounding work, like walking barefoot outside, working with grounding crystals, or visualizing roots growing from your body into the earth, can help rebuild that sense of inner security. And then, of course, affirmations, but not fluffy ones that feel fake. I mean the kind that hit different because they're aligned with what you're actually headed toward. Things like, I release the past and welcome in love that meets me where I'm at. Or, I call my power back from every person, place, or memory I gave it away to. I am ready for love that feels calm, grounded, and safe. When you start doing this kind of clearing work, things begin to shift. Sometimes it's subtle. Your nervous system relaxes. You stop fantasizing about the past. Your energy feels lighter. And sometimes it's big. New people show up. Synchronicities happen. You feel like something that was stuck has finally moved. This is the moment where you make space for what's actually meant for you. It's not about erasing the past, it's about transmuting it so you can move forward free. All right, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few journal prompts to help you integrate everything we talked about today. You don't have to do them all at once, just pick one that resonates and let yourself go deep. And remember, this isn't about getting the right answer, it's about creating space to get honest with yourself without judgment, without shame, just radical self awareness and self love. So here we go. Have I confused intensity for love in past relationships? Whew, this one hits because when we're used to chaos, we can mistake that emotional roller coaster for passion. What patterns do I notice in the people I attract? Are they consistent? Emotionally unavailable? Do they reflect a wound I haven't fully healed yet? What energy do I want to bring into my next relationship or my current one? This is about shifting from what do I want from them to who do I want to be in my relationship? Am I staying in a relationship because of a soul contract or do I truly feel aligned? Be honest. Are you still there because you think you're supposed to be? Or does your body feel safe and grounded with them? How can I start creating more secure attachment energy in my life right now? It doesn't start with another person. It starts with how you speak to yourself, how you self soothe, how you hold yourself in the hard moments. If you journal on even one of these, something will move. And if you feel called, come share with me. My DMs are always open, and I would love to witness your reflections. Whew, okay, that was a big one. So let's take a deep breath and recap. Today we talked about soulmates, not the fairy tale kind, but the real soul shifting kind. We explored the soul contracts we make before we get here, the role our attachment style plays in who we attract, and how free will is your built in permission slip to walk away when something no longer serves your growth. We talked about how karmic relationships can evolve, but only if both people are willing to do the work. We talked about healing from the inside out, because your outer world will always reflect your inner state. And we covered ways to clear out lingering energetic imprints so you can call in love that actually feels good. If this episode stirred something in you and you're starting to see your own patterns more clearly, start with my free quiz and healing guide. It'll help you understand your attachment style, where it came from, and how to start shifting into a more secure energy. The link is in the show notes. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you're in a relationship that's activating old wounds, or you're done repeating the same cycles, my 12-week coaching program, Healing Her, is where the real transformation happens. We go deep into nervous system regulation, somatic healing, subconscious reprogramming, and energetic clearing to shift your relationship with yourself and with others. This is where the magic really begins. Info and application are in the show notes. And of course, come say hi on my socials. I'm at dianafajera.coach on all the platforms. And if you want weekly goodies, deeper insights, and behind the scenes shares I don't post anywhere else, make sure you're on my newsletter. That link's in the show notes too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work. You are worthy of love that feels calm, grounded, and safe. Until next time, hop off of that hot mess express and let's board the train to your highest self.